You ever get the feeling that something simple might be missing? You take your meds, you try to rest, maybe even sip herbal tea before bed, but your body's still tense, your thoughts still restless, and by morning, you're more exhausted than when you close your eyes. I used to think that was just part of getting older, that maybe after 65, your body just doesn't bounce back like it used to. But then I met Luciana, a retired opera singer from Florence. 76 years old, sharp as ever, but her nights? She said it felt like her brain ran marathons while her body begged for rest. She told me, I don't dream anymore. I just lie there, tired and waiting. That stuck with me. And it made me wonder, could something as ordinary as our evening meals be the reason so many seniors struggle with sleep and recovery? Turns out they can, and not just a little. A growing body of research now links what you eat at night to how well your heart recovers, how clearly your brain works the next day, and even how balanced your emotions feel. It's not magic, it's biology. And today I want to share two simple foods that changed the lives of Luciana and Harold, a long-haul trucker from Pennsylvania who hadn't slept more than 4 hours straight in years, until he made one small change. Let's start with Luciana. Now, this woman used to light up opera halls all across Italy, but post-retirement, her nights were broken. Racing thoughts, body aches, and the kind of anxiety that creeps in as soon as the lights go off. Her granddaughter, a young nutritionist, noticed a pattern. Luciana's dinners were often low in protein and completely missing magnesium. That's when they introduced a food older than most civilization, lentils. Lentils aren't just a budget food. They're loaded with slow-digesting fiber, magnesium, folate, and most importantly, tryptophan, a precursor to melatonin. That one shift, adding warm lentil soup 3 or 4 nights a week, gave Luciana what she hadn't felt in years: peace. Not just sleep, but deep, uninterrupted restoration. She told me, now I dream again, and I don't wake up panicked, wondering if I ever actually fell asleep. See, when we talk about elderly wisdom, we're not just talking about quotes or philosophy. We're talking about real people who figured out what worked, slowly, mindfully, with intention. Lentils helped her regulate blood sugar, reduce inflammation, and calm her nervous system. All crucial after 65, when recovery slows and stress hormones spike faster than they used to. And that's the thing, the foods we eat don't just fill our stomachs, they either support our body's healing process or quietly sabotage it. Now let's talk about Harold. 69, from a little town in Pennsylvania, spent 4 decades on the road hauling freight. Tough as nails, but in retirement, the man couldn't stay asleep. He'd nod off during the news, then stare at the ceiling until 2 in the morning. His wife noticed something odd. On the nights they had sweet potatoes, he slept better, deeper, calmer. So they made it a habit. Not a whole feast, just a simple serving. Mashed, baked, sometimes sliced thin and roasted, with olive oil and a dash of cinnamon. Within a few weeks, Harold said something I'll never forget. He said, I didn't know I could still feel rested. Like my mind didn't need 2 cups of coffee just to function. Here's why it worked. Sweet potatoes are packed with potassium, which helps regulate blood pressure and relax muscle tension, both critical for a stable heart rhythm overnight. They also contain complex carbs that encourage the body to produce insulin in a controlled way. That insulin helps tryptophan reach the brain, where it becomes serotonin, then melatonin. In plain terms, sweet potatoes help the brain know it's time to sleep, and unlike white bread or sugary snacks that spike your blood sugar and crash it hours later, sweet potatoes keep things steady, so you're not waking up groggy or suddenly alert at 3 a.m. There's a study published by the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition that followed adults over 60 who added low glycemic carbs to their dinner. After just a month, their deep scores improved by 35%. That's not just sleep, that's recovery. That's fewer heart palpitations, that's clearer thoughts. That's senior health rooted in something real. Now, if you're listening to this and thinking, I'm too old to change, let me stop you right there. You're not. Luciana was 76. Harold was almost 70. Neither of them started with perfect habits or a big health plan. They just got curious. They made one better choice, then another, and then sleep, real sleep, came back to them like an old friend they thought they'd lost. So let me ask you, not as a doctor, not as a guru, but as someone who cares, what's on your plate at night? Is it calming your system or stirring it up? Is it feeding your heart and your brain or draining you little by little? Because the truth is, every small choice matters more after 65. And here at Elderly Reflections, we believe in choices that bring healing. We believe in motivation, in inspiration, and in life lessons from the elderly that speak louder than any medical chart. Now, in the next section, we'll talk about 2 more foods. One that's been used for centuries in ancient medicine to reduce inflammation, and another that's a powerhouse for memory. And you probably have it in your freezer right now. You don't want to miss it. Before you go, let me ask you, where are you watching from? Are you tuning in from the US, the UK, maybe Germany, France, or somewhere else? Let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear your story. And if you found this helpful, please take a moment to like, subscribe, and tap that bell so you never miss a video that could change the way you rest, recover, and live. Because at Elderly Reflections, your health is more than numbers. It's about resilience, wisdom, and the simple rituals that keep you strong. Let me ask you something. When you think about your dinner, do you treat it like a chore, just something to get over with? Or do you see it as your last chance of the day to nourish your heart, protect your brain, and calm your nervous system? Most people don't, especially as we get older. We're taught to watch breakfast, cut carbs at lunch, skip dessert, but no one ever tells you that what you eat in the final 2 hours of your day may quietly determine whether you sleep like a baby or wake up 3 times before sunrise. If you saw the first section, you already know about Luciana and Harold, 2 seniors whose lives were changed with lentils and sweet potatoes. But we're not stopping there. Tonight we open the second chapter. I want to introduce you to Joyce and Louis, 2 people from completely different worlds, both over 70, both struggling with that hazy middle space between lying down and actually resting. What helped them wasn't complicated. In fact, it came from traditions far older than any pharmaceutical solution. Joyce is 81, lives in a quiet cottage outside of Devon, England. The kind of place with ivy on the bricks, a kettle always on the stove, and birdsong at every window. But in recent years, her peace had been interrupted by restlessness. Her thoughts would scatter like leaves in the wind. Her joints stiffened after 8 p.m., and no matter what time she went to bed, she'd wake up feeling like she hadn't slept at all. Her granddaughter, who had studied traditional Indian medicine while traveling abroad, gave her a small recipe card one day. On it, 3 words: turmeric, warm, milk. It sounded strange, a drink before bed? With a spice? But Joyce trusted her. That night, she heated a cup of oat milk, stirred in half a teaspoon of turmeric, a dash of black pepper for absorption, and a touch of honey. The taste, she drank it slowly, sitting in her chair by the fire. And for the first time in months, her sleep felt like sleep. Here's the science. Turmeric contains curcumin, a compound proven to reduce systemic inflammation. Now, why does that matter at bedtime? Because chronic inflammation is a silent saboteur, especially in seniors. It increases your risk of cognitive decline, heart disease, and even mood disorders. And when you reduce that inflammation before bed, you don't just fall asleep faster, your body actually gets the chance to heal during the night. One study from the American Journal of Geriatric Psychiatry showed that seniors who consumed curcumin regularly had improved memory and attention, even reduced signs of brain plaque buildup associated with Alzheimer's. Joyce didn't need a medical degree to feel the change. Within 2 weeks, her nighttime fog lifted. Her joints stopped throbbing. She even began remembering her dreams again. That's elderly wisdom at work. Not a fad, not a trend, just a ritual, passed down, rediscovered, and made new again. Now let's cross the ocean to Kentucky. There we meet Louis, 75 years old, a retired mechanic who used to fix tractors and Fords like it was second nature. But in the past year, Louis had started to forget things. Names, dates, even tools he used every day. My mind feels like a cluttered garage, he joked. But beneath the humor, he was scared. And he had every right to be. He knew how precious memory was, how quickly it could fit. One evening, his daughter handed him a bowl of fresh blueberries. Before bed, she said, "Trust me." He did. And from that night on, it became his habit. A handful of blueberries, washed and chilled, sometimes tossed with a few crushed almonds. 3 months later, he wasn't cured. But he felt present. As he told me, "The clutter's still there, but now I can find the wrench." Blueberries are what scientists call neuroprotective. They contain anthocyanins, powerful antioxidants that cross the blood-brain barrier and reduce oxidative stress in the brain. This matters especially after 65, when free radicals, unstable molecules. Multiple studies, including one from the University of Exeter, show that older adults who consume blueberries daily experience improved memory, decision-making, and even verbal fluency. And here's the best part. Blueberries also help improve vascular flow to the brain, which supports clarity, balance, and cognitive endurance. If you've ever woken up feeling foggy, like your thoughts are moving through molasses, it could be your circulation, not just your sleep. And Louis? He said the blueberries didn't just help his brain. "I feel less irritable, like my fuse isn't so short." That's serotonin at work. supported by a gut-brain connection that blueberries help stabilize. Now you might be thinking, do I have to eat all of this every night? No, that's not the point. This isn't a checklist. It's a toolbox. Some nights it's turmeric milk. Other nights it's a small bowl of blueberries. You rotate, you listen to your body, and over time these tiny choices begin to shift your rhythm. Not in weeks, but in days. Because once your sleep improves, so does your memory, your energy, your mood, your blood pressure, and even your motivation to move and connect. This is what we mean when we say senior health is not just about survival, it's about recovery and reflection. And here on Elderly Reflections, we believe the smallest rituals are often the most powerful because they're personal, they're rooted in story, and they remind you even now, even in your 70s or 80s, that you can still shape the way your body and mind feel every single night. Now, in the next section, we'll talk about how to bring all 6 of these ingredients together, how to time them, combine them, and avoid the common mistakes that rob seniors of true rest. You'll also meet George, an 82-year-old from Vermont who reclaimed his evenings with a tray, a journal, and a quiet ritual that changed his life. Don't miss it. Before you go, let me ask you, where are you watching from? Is it Ireland, New York, Alberta? Let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear your story. And if this helped you or someone you care about, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on that little bell, because these videos aren't just about tips. They're about connection, healing, hope, and every senior deserves all 3. There's something sacred about the last hour of the day. The world gets quieter, the light softens, and if you listen closely, your body speaks, not with words, but with signals. A tightness in the chest, a mind that won't settle, a heaviness in your limbs, and maybe, just maybe, a longing to feel yourself again. Not the version of you who's worn down from doctor visits or blurry mornings, but the real you, sharp, steady, rested. That version isn't gone. It's just waiting for you to give it what it needs. And that's why tonight, in this final section of our journey, we bring it all together. Over the past 2 chapters, you've met Luciana, Harold, Joyce, and Louis, 4 seniors from different corners of the world, all over 65, who learned how a few simple foods could change the way their body recovers at night. Lentils, sweet potatoes, turmeric milk, blueberries. These aren't health fads. These are building blocks, tools, rooted in elderly wisdom and backed by science. But now the question becomes, how do you turn these foods into a routine that sticks? A ritual that doesn't just feel like another health chore, but something you actually look forward to. Let me tell you about George, 82 years old, a retired dentist from Vermont with a voice like gravel and a heart made of gold. After his wife passed, George's nights fell apart. He stopped cooking, started skipping meals. Most evenings he'd just grab crackers and sit in the dark. And slowly that quiet loneliness turned into forgetfulness, then fatigue, then high blood pressure. When his daughter visited, she noticed the difference instantly. "Dad," she told him, "you're not taking care of your nights." And that was the moment everything shifted. Together they created something George called his night tray. Nothing fancy, just a small wooden tray he'd prepare around 8:30 each evening. On it, a little bowl of Greek yogurt with crushed walnuts, a handful of blueberries, and a mug of warm turmeric milk. Sometimes he'd add a kiwi or a slice of sweet potato if he had one left over from lunch. He'd dim the lights, sit near the window, and eat slowly. No TV, no phone, just soft music and his thoughts. Within 3 weeks, his sleep improved. Within 2 months, his memory stabilized. But the most important thing? He told me, "I started feeling like I belonged to myself again." That's the power of ritual. Not just food, not just nutrients, but intention. Repeated enough times that your body begins to trust the rhythm again. Now let's talk about how you can build your own version of George's night tray. First, timing. Your body needs roughly 90 minutes to digest and metabolize calming foods before bed. So if you sleep around 10 p.m., your last small meal or snack should be between 7:30 and 8:30 p.m. Eating too late, even healthy foods, can impart melatonin production and increase nighttime heart rate. Especially in seniors, let your body wind down instead of working overtime to digest. Second, portions. A common mistake I see, over-snacking at night, even on good stuff. Remember, at bedtime you're not fueling movement, you're fueling repair. So keep it light and steady. Here's a simple guideline, 6 to 8 halves, about a tablespoon. Blueberries a quarter cup, Greek yogurt half a cup, ideally plain and unsweetened, kiwi 1 to 2, peeled, lentil soup or sweet potato, no more than half a cup. Turmeric milk, 1 warm cup, with a dash of black pepper. Don't eat all 6 at once, just rotate. 2 or 3 per evening is enough. Variety helps your body respond better over time, and it keeps things from feeling like a diet. Third, let's talk about what to avoid, because just like some foods heal, others quietly harm. Many seniors reach for toast, cookies, crackers, or even a glass of wine to wind down. But refined carbs and alcohol do more damage at night than most people realize. They spike your blood sugar, increase cortisol, disrupt your REM sleep, and in some cases even raise your risk of nighttime hypertension. If you wake up sweating, anxious, or groggy, it might not be stress, it might be what you ate before bed. And then there's hydration. Yes, water is essential, but flooding your system at 9 or 10 p.m., that leads to interrupted sleep, late-night bathroom trips, and even dangerous falls if you're dizzy or disoriented getting out of bed. So sip lightly after 8 p.m. Save the bulk of your water intake for the earlier hours of your day. Now let's return to the idea of ritual, because this is where the magic really lives. When George made his night tray, it wasn't just about food. It was about reclaiming a part of his day that felt out of control. And that's something every senior deserves. Not just better sleep, but the dignity of choosing how they end their day. Whether it's a bowl of yogurt and berries or a cup of turmeric milk with a few walnuts, it's the message behind the food that matters. The message is, I care, I'm still here, and I'm still choosing to heal. And if you're sitting there thinking it's too late to change, it's not. I've heard from people in their 70s, 80s, even 90s who started bedtime rituals and saw dramatic improvements in their memory, energy, and even mobility. One woman, 86, from Minnesota, told us last year, after 2 weeks of doing this, I'm dreaming again, and I feel rested enough to walk the stairs instead of avoiding them. So if all of this feels overwhelming, don't try to do it all at once. Just begin with one change. Tonight, maybe it's a handful of blueberries. Maybe it's a warm drink, or maybe it's just dimming the lights, turning off the TV and sitting in silence with your food. That's enough. That's where it begins. Because every small, deliberate act of nourishment sends a message to your body. I'm not done yet. I still value peace. I still value strength. I still believe in recovery. And here on Elderly Reflections, that's what we stand for. Not just tips, not just quotes, but real motivation, real life inspiration, and life lessons from the elderly that carry the kind of wisdom you can feel in your bones. So before you go, let me ask again, where are you watching from tonight? Is it California? Is it Paris? Is it a quiet village in Scotland? Let me know in the comments. Your voice matters. And if this video touched you, please take a moment to like, subscribe, and tap that bell. You never know when the next story might be the one that changes someone's life. Because no matter your age, 60, 70, 80 or more, your story still matters. And how you care for yourself tonight may just shape how you rise tomorrow. Here's to your heart, here's to your brain, and here's to the quiet strength of seniors who never stop growing.